Inspiration Point, Cascade Canyon, Lake Solitude. It's like a complete trifecta. And the reason why I kind of separated this into 3 separate videos is because each destination is kind of like its own destination. So if you have grandma and your littles that can only make it up to perhaps Inspiration Point, or if you have a little bit more time, kind of make your way into Cascade Canyon. But if you want an all-day adventure and you have the stamina and legs, then Lake Solitude is the perfect trifecta. And that's what we're here to talk about, is Lake Solitude. And I am really excited to talk to you about Lake Solitude. So let's get into it. So Lake Solitude, where is it? Well, it's located in the Grand Teton National Park, and you have to make your way to the Jenny Lake Visitor Center to start this hike. And so what are the trail stats? Well, the trail stats are 14.5 miles round trip with a total elevation gain of around 2,400 feet. And that's if you take the boat shuttle. If you don't take the boat shuttle, then you're gonna add about 5 miles round trip to this hike. But I'll put a link in the description for the boat shuttle to check out, because you're gonna wanna start this hike early because it's an all-day adventure. So if you haven't seen my previous videos on Inspiration Point or Cascade Canyon, it's a good idea to start there because it's gonna provide a lot more in-depth detail than what I can fit into this video. So start there, but no worries if you don't, because I'll give you kind of the cliff notes to kind of get you up to speed. So to start this trip, you're gonna wanna take the boat shuttle across the lake. And when you get off the boat shuttle, you're gonna wanna make your way up to Inspiration Point. But don't miss Hidden Falls, which is about a half mile into your hike. It's just a little side trail that takes you to a good viewpoint. It's well worth it, it's quite beautiful. When you get to the top of Inspiration Point, that's about 0.9 miles after you've got off the boat. And from here, it's a short half mile to get into Cascade Canyon proper. And once when you get into Cascade Canyon, this whole trail just transforms into something completely different. You're immersed into the Tetons themselves. You've got Grand Teton on the left side of the canyon, and you're just surrounded by 11,000 to 13,000 foot peaks. The way here is pretty moderate and relatively flat and easy going. You're never far from the creek, and there's several places that invite you to go to the creek and kind of hang out and have a snack. Everything through here is quite beautiful and gorgeous. There's a lot of wildlife, so keep your eyes peeled. Further along you go, the less crowds, and in my opinion, the more scenic it gets. When you get towards the back end of Cascade Canyon, you're gonna start to climb moderately through the forest. You're gonna cross the North Fork Cascade Creek, and at that point, you're gonna reach a junction. And it's the junction between the South Fork Cascade Creek and the North Fork Cascade Creek. From here, you're gonna wanna turn right toward Lake Solitude. And from here, you've hiked around a little over 4.5 miles, and it's still another 2.7 miles to get to Lake Solitude. And after you turn right, you're gonna start climbing pretty moderately through the forest. Now note this grade, because this grade's gonna be pretty consistent all the way to the lake. At around about a half mile from the junction, you start to break out more and more into meadows. And from this point forward, the closer you get to the lake, the more you're gonna be in open meadows and less trees. The altitude and sun really starts to take their toll, so just keep that in mind to bring your sunscreen, because the sun's pretty intense at this altitude. At about the 1 mile mark, you're gonna cross the creek on a footbridge. Don't forget to look behind you, because that view is insane. It's amazing. It's one of the best views I can remember from any national park trail. So about halfway up the valley from the junction to the lake, you'll start to see campsites to your right down the hill toward the creek. And if you're planning on camping here, you're gonna have to have permits and reservations. And I'll put a link in the description. And of course, I found the best campsite to be the one that's closest to the lake, but they're all great because the valley itself is spectacular. Just before the lake, the trail will abruptly flatten out, and you hike a short distance to the meadow-ringed waters of Lake Solitude. And from here, there are tons of room to just spread out, find a place to take a break, and just admire the scene, because the lake itself is absolutely stunning and very beautiful. And when you're done with the lake and you're ready to hike back, one of the best parts is you get to enjoy this view all the way down the North Fork Cascade Creek. It's just a nice added bonus. All right, my official rating for this trail. Let's get the bad out of the way. First, I hate the shuttle boat stuff. I hate dealing with the shuttle boat, but it's nice that it takes away 5 miles of this trail. And I really hate the crowds of people that you get at Inspiration Point and into Cascade Canyon. But it's nice the further along into the canyon you go, the less crowds there are. So one of the things I love about this hike though is the fact that the further up you go, the more scenic everything becomes. Because Cascade Canyon is pretty incredible. And once when you start heading up to Lake Solitude, it gets to the point where it's one of the nicest views I've ever seen out of any national park trail. And to be completely honest, this trail is one of the best day hikes I have ever taken. And this hike checks off just about every major box that makes a great hike. You want waterfalls? It has it. You're looking for great wildlife? They're there. How about wildflowers and meadows? Yep. Want a good alpine lake? It's hard to beat that one. And if you're in the views, check, check, and check again. So clearly and obviously, this hike earns the gold standard. But I'm so excited to continue on my series on the Grand Teton National Park. And the next video I'm really excited about. It's one of those places that was basically mostly hidden until it became Insta famous. So that's a little clue for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.